Superman vs. Captain Atom just kicked off the first match for DCKO, and you're not gonna believe how it ends. What's up, my comic comrades? Today we're kicking off DCKO's first round of fights with a breakdown of Superman versus Captain Atom. That's right, we're getting spin-off one-shots from the DCKO event that put two characters up against each other at a time. DC even has a bracket you could fill out to guess who will win and take the belt in the end. It's pretty great. Anyway, like I said, for the first one, it's the Man of Steel versus Captain Atom, and let me tell you, there is something that happened towards the end of this issue that literally made my mouth drop, and I just stared at the page for a few minutes. I can't believe it happened. It was a nice surprise, so let's see who wins this battle. The issue starts off giving us a brief origin of Captain Atom because, generally speaking, he's not as well known as, let's say, Superman or Batman. It begins with narration from Captain Atom that says, "I was born Nathaniel Christopher Atom in a small town of America. Growing up where I didn't have a lot of options or control over my future. So I signed up and took to the skies. When the time came for me to make a sacrifice for my country, I did it. I took control of my future. I was reborn with powers beyond anything I could imagine, and I became more, an agent of good, a superhero, a weapon. But there is one role I've always denied, the title of a god," as we see a massive splash page of Captain Atom in space. We're then taken to round 2 of the DCKO tournament, which took place in issue 2 of DCKO, where we see Superman yelling at Captain Atom, as Captain Atom's captions essentially say, "I've been yelled at a few times in my life, but I gotta say, you haven't lived until you've been yelled at by Superman." He's angry, more than I've ever seen. He's upset that I took out his cousin from the tournament with a little friendly fire. He doesn't get it. I had to make it to the next round. He doesn't want to admit we're at war, and when we're at war, we make sacrifices. Eventually, Captain Atom asks, "Are you done? Can I speak now?" Superman asks, "Am I done?" Captain Atom replies, "Here's what I saw. You were down for the count, big guy, and Lex and Joker and their buddies were winning, and you were too worried about everyone else to do what needed to be done. What did Batman tell you? Get your head in the game, right? You could be mad at me all you want, but my guess is things are only going to get harder from here." Superman then says, "You and I are going to have a long talk when this is all over, Nathaniel, Captain Atom." But Captain Atom just mocks Superman, saying, "Sir, yes, sir." As the Heart of Apocalypse says, "Prepare for the next round, champions," as Captain Atom is brought into limbo of sorts. As his captions say, Superman's not going to like that, the fact that I saluted him, but I don't answer to him. Back in limbo, huh? Not the first time I've been teleported from world to world without control. Time Trapper said we needed to show no mercy to become the King Omega. We had to be like Darkseid, so I did. I have the power and the experience. I'm going to win, no matter who I have to fight." As he curses, scene, he has to fight Superman. The Heart of Apocalypse then narrates saying, "Captain Atom, Superman, to advance to the next level, you must engage in a contest of hand-to-hand combat. Best 2 out of 3 wins. When one combatant loses, that combatant must choose a form to ensure victory. The only way forward is to fight." Captain Atom then asks, "Is this the real Metropolis, Supes? The Heart gave you home court advantage." Superman then listens, saying, "Sounds like it. I could hear the people, but it's missing something." Captain Atom replies, "It's messing with us, trying to make us worried about really throwing down with each other if there's civilians present." Superman then grabs Captain Atom, saying, "It chose the two of us for a reason, Nathaniel. We need to be careful." But Captain Atom isn't about it, as he says, "There you go again, Superman, not getting it. I'm playing to win. Can you say the same?" As he punches Superman not through 1, but through 3 skyscrapers. As his captions say, "I hope Superman sees this hurts me as much as it hurts him." Now, that was an insane punch, but not for Superman, all right? He ain't going out that easy, so he gets back up out of the rubble, saying, "Captain Atom, what are you doing? The Heart manufactures realities. These buildings, they could be full of real people." But Captain comes flying in with a punch, saying, "That's debatable." But Superman just catches Captain's fist in the palm of his hand, saying, "It's really not," as the sudden stop causes a massive boom. Yeah, these are 2 powerhouses going at it all out. Superman then grabs Captain Atom and chucks him into the ground below as the two start trading punches. But ultimately, Captain Atom says, "You know how this ends, right? The winner gets the power to kill Darkseid." Now, I know you've had run-ins with kryptonite recently, but can you survive this kind of 1-2 punch? Red Sun energy and kryptonite, as he uses his power over atoms to form kryptonite and red sun atoms around each of his fists, punching Superman with a kryptonite fist and a red sun fist. Superman then wipes blood off his lip, saying, "Maybe you're right. Maybe I can't be that ruthless. But I know you too, Nathan. You would never kill in cold blood. Nathan just grabs him saying, you don't know me or what I've been through. Think about every time my suit has been destroyed and I exploded. All those times I was launched across time and space, lost, and you never, ever looked for me. As we see the kryptonite withering Superman, and Superman asks, what are you doing? Captain Atom replies, you could say I'm draining your power. All of it. Until your atoms are turned into nothingness. Or you could say, I'm helping you. You didn't want to conduct this tournament in the first place, so I'm helping you leave it for good. As he sucks all of Superman's power, winning the first round. And when he wins, we see the Heart of Apocalypse, as Captain Atom says, the Omega energy. Can you feel that? The heart, the fires are burning. We're getting closer to the center. And its power, it's unlike anything I've ever felt. With this, we can stop Darkseid and save the world. But Superman just regenerates for round 2, saying, after what you did to Supergirl, I wonder if that's the power talking or are you really out for yourself? Captain replies, I'm not sorry for taking out your cousin or kicking your ass, Boy Scout. We're at war and I'm doing what you won't. The Heart of Apocalypse then says, round 2 begins. Choose your form, choose your arena. We then get a close-up of Captain Atom and Superman as the Heart of Apocalypse, or the Game Master, says, you have chosen. And on the very next page, we see Captain Atom chose the form of Monarch. Now, for those of you who don't know, Monarch first appeared in Armageddon 2001, issue 1 in 1991. He is a tyrant from a very bad future, and he is essentially a god. He has energy manipulation, matter manipulation, time travel, invulnerability, energy blasts, all kinds of stuff. It's absolutely bonkers. I mean, the captions from the book even say, in some realities, I was Monarch, a god who could control time and space. But right next to him, even more crazy, we see Superman took the form of Superman Prime from the 853rd century. But to us fans, we simply call him Superman 1 million. Meaning this next round is God versus God. Superman 1 million is arguably the most powerful version of Superman ever created, and he's back for a full-on hand-to-hand versus battle against Monarch, a god of time and space. Superman 1 million then tells Monarch, we're on the same page, Cap. We want to save the people we love, the world we love. Monarch says, then fight for it. As Superman flies into space, with Monarch saying, running is not going to help Superman. But as Monarch starts to catch up, Superman says, I'm not running. Monarch replies, the sun? You're planning to absorb more solar radiation? I'll just drain that too. But Superman 1 million says, no, I'm doing a trick the Flash told me about once, but I needed this form to gather enough strength, as he freezes the sun with his frost breath. Monarch then says, I can't move. What did you? Superman tells him, I used every bit of power I had. Atoms and quantum fields can be slowed down when exposed to extreme cold, including us, but I have just enough power left after a lifetime in the sun to outlast you. As Monarch dies, with Superman winning the second round. But let's pause for a second. In this form, you know, Superman 1 million, Superman was able to blow out the sun, put it out, make it an ice cube. That's just kind of an insane feat, so just had to put that out there. After this, the Heart of Apocalypse and Game Master says, round 2, combatants and regeneration complete. Choose your form. Captain says, I know what I did wrong last time. Superman says, be careful. No matter what we do here, we need to be ourselves. We can't lose who we are in this twisted game. Just now, I felt the same Omega power you felt. It was intoxicating. But can't you see, the closer we get to the heart, the more it manipulates us? Captain says, sorry, but I know what needs to be done. Instead of choosing one form, I will choose all of them. I am all power. And as he merges all of his past and future forms together, the Heart of Apocalypse says, and Superman has chosen, as Superman says, to be myself. I refuse to lose myself in this place. So Superman gives up his 1 million form to just be base form Superman, as Captain says, you fool, I can control time, space, and all reality. With all myselves combined, I am the heart's equal. And as the heart tries to create a new arena, I will use it as an opening to steal back control. We don't need to fight each other now. Superman says, oh no, the fire pits went down. Atom, the heart sees the cheat. Atom says, I'm not cheating. I'm just taking this fight directly to the Game Master. But Superman tells him, Time Trapper warned us the heart would defend itself, but Atom doesn't care. He just grows in size and reaches out for the Heart of Apocalypse, saying, I'll grab reality itself. I could feel it now. It's beating in my hands. I only need to, but at that moment, reality starts to shatter, and Atom asks, what is happening? Superman, while punching the crap out of him while reality starts to shatter like glass around them, says, you challenge the heart, so it's using your power powers against you, pushing you backward into your own timeline. Captain Atom replies, "It doesn't matter, then I'll play the game its way. I will win no matter what. When we entered the tournament, the heart showed me the world I could create. With its power, I created a world where a soldier like me isn't needed. But it was so much more than that. For the first time in my whole life, I felt like I had control over my own future, like my destiny was now mine to decide. But you, I bet it showed you the world exactly as it was. You put everything right back the same way. You wouldn't change a thing." Superman says, "It showed me what I wanted in my heart, and I'm no better than you. But it's not my right to tell anyone what the world should be like." Atom says, "Then what are you doing here?" Superman tells him, "I trust my friends, I believe in my friends." As Atom tells Superman, "If the heart wants to turn my history into a weapon, I'll use it." As we see Atom literally fight through reality, holding his past and future like plates of glass, throwing them at Superman as he says, "Eat an origin bomb," hitting Superman with everything, exploding around him, saying, "Everything is gone, my past, my life, all broken, but it was worth it to finally have control over my own future. The fight is over. I won. You hear that, heart? I won. The world will be mine." But on the next page, we see Superman flying in with a punch saying, "Not quite. You made a mistake, Captain, but you're too corrupted by the heart to see that. Your little stunt somehow combined our powers. Now I will use them against you. Drain your energy the same way you drained mine." So Superman, now with Atom's powers on top of his own, starts draining Captain. Captain says, "Don't you know what will happen? I will explode. I'll teleport out of the competition. No idea when or where I could land. It could be anywhere. I won't be in control." Superman then says, "I know. I'm sorry, Captain Atom," as he does it anyway, as we see Captain Atom explode with Superman winning the final round, saying, "But at what cost?" Superman then looks at his hand saying, "Captain Atom was right. I could feel the power from the heart growing, reaching for me. It corrupted Captain Atom, but if it could do that to someone like him," as the Heart of Apocalypse teleports Superman out, saying, "Prepare for the next round." We're then taken back to the Justice League Watchtower, where we see Booster Gold, who finally revealed himself as Darkseid in disguise, on top of Time Trapper, saying, "Because I've allowed this charade to go on long enough, the pits are burning with Omega energy. That belongs to me." Time Trapper says, "I know what you are. How did we miss this?" Booster, or Darkseid, says, "Your hope blinded you, Time Trapper, to your true reality. I always hated you, Doomsday. It bothered me that anyone thought a monster like you could challenge a god like me. But you were right in what you told the Justice League. There was no path to a future that was not mine. None. They really should have listened and prepared themselves for the order I bring. You cannot fight Darkseid and win." And with that, the issue ends, saying the tournament continues in Aquaman 12 and in DCKO Wonder Woman vs. Lobo next week. I keep saying it after every DCKO issue or tie-in. This is great. We got to have an entire issue of Superman fighting Captain Atom. We saw them become the most powerful versions of themselves, Monarch and Superman 1,000,000. This was just completely action-packed and a great tie-in to the DCKO series. We even got to see Superman with the power of Captain Atom. Dude, this is like a nerd dream. We're getting all these cool power-ups in like a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter style gauntlet matchup. I love it. In fact, the next fights we're gonna see is Aquaman versus Hawkman and Wonder Woman versus Lobo. You know we're gonna cover those. But what did you guys think of this issue, and what are you thinking of DCKO in general? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Other than that, like always, we will see you next time when we talk about all things comics.